Hello, everyone. This is Waleed AlHamdan from Snax. Again, I'm so happy to have with me Mr. Mark to give us a great story, or mostly great stories, in Disney's transition and one of the mission which everyone knows, which is Mission Magic. Mark, thank you again for giving us the time. Excite us as usual. Hope to hear from you good news. Please do.
Yeah. Thank you, Waleed. I'm very excited to be here, and I really appreciate this opportunity to share some of these stories. So we heard before that we were building a new space, a new store, a new environment, and there was many unique features. And one of the experiences are great. You can build them in, but it really takes people and individuals to really deliver those experiences. And so one of the things that we recognized was, in order to really bring this environment to life, we really needed to have the right personnel, the right team members that were in there. And it wasn't seamless. We made some starts and stops, and we made some mistakes, but ultimately, we started with a name. And with Disney, it's always important to name it something that's very catchy, that's very kind of memorable. But Mission Magic is what we called it. And what we wanted to do is create a philosophy, and it wasn't a program, or it wasn't an initiative, or it wasn't a feature of how we do things. It was a philosophy of how we think, of how we really showed up to work and really kind of became a performer on stage as we were really trying to become better at service than we had been in the past. So if you recall from back at the very beginning of the story, we had gone through a transition. The Disney stores had been sold off. And so the employees and the team members that were there a lot of them had transitioned. And so we really wanted to bring everyone back into the mindset of what it means to be a part of the Disney family again, and really what it means, how important it is for you to deliver on the legacy of the Walt Disney Company. And so we decided to really start to define what we wanted and how we really wanted it to become something that was unique and special. So Mission Magic was born. And if you think about the Mickey Mouse symbol, so there's like a head, and there's a smaller ear and a smaller ear. Yes, the two ears on the top. So if you think about in the head, in the face, there was, okay, let's start the ear. So in one ear, we had the word entertainment. Mm-hmm. And in the other ear, we had the word engagement. And the big face, we had the word culture. And so the idea was that if we bring in entertainment, if we bring in people who are going to want to entertain our guests, they want to deliver an experience to our guest, we want that to be one of the ears. The other ear is going to be engagement. So obviously you don't want to tell jokes, at a funeral. I know that's a terrible thing, but I mean, you have to read the guest, read the customer, and really kind of make sure that you are engaging with that individual. So you're really not going on and doing the same like jokes or spiel or story every time to every person, but you're really trying to personalize it to that individual. So it had to be.
If I may.
Yes, please.
Now, one of the main, what you have started and said, was the people. And I think so that's one of the, as they say, challenging, as the solution, which we could see now, is transformation to technology. So when you are talking about building, let's, as they say, recap, engagement, entertainment, and culture. So the three of them, especially the culture, is one of the hardest and the challenging, as I say, pillar in even any customer experience strategy.
Yes.
So I think so. If you could give us some stories in how you managed, or the team, that, because you have said that now there was a transition, people were coming back. Now it could be that some of them are not feeling good, some of them feeling sad. So you needed to really entertain and do some engagement to change the culture. So
very good. And
yeah.
so if you think about the face of Mickey, the ears, the idea, at least the thought was, if we increased our people's ability to entertain, increase our people's ability to engage, those ears would get bigger. And if the ears get bigger, then the head gets bigger. So you grow the culture by growing what you want to build the culture on, which was in entertainment and engagement. And so then we had to say, okay, what does entertainment mean? What does engagement mean? And so so it was very much a building block kind of mentality. We really wanted to build this culture. We wanted to build it on the foundation of entertainment and engagement. So then we had to define, what is engagement? What does mission magic mean? And so we did a survey. We sent out of messages to say to all the stores, and we had a little over 200 stores, and we said, give us a story of when you and your team did something special and unique and really made a difference in somebody's life. And we gave them a deadline, and we told them it shouldn't be longer than this much. And if you had a picture, that would be great, but if you didn't, it's okay. And this was back in 2010, so not a lot of, like, you know, the phones weren't that good and stuff like that. But anyway, and what we found out was that there were some amazing stories. And I'll give you an example. A family was driving from New York to Florida, so north to south. And Florida was Walt Disney World, and they were going on a family vacation. And the children were so excited because they were going to Disney World. And so they were as they were driving south, they got a message, a terrible message, that a relative of theirs had passed away. And they had to stop their vacation, and they made the decision that they were going to turn around and go back home. So of course the children are heartbroken, they're crushed. And so they went to one of the malls out very far away from their home. And the cast member, the person who was working there, asked them, is everything okay? And they shared the story that this is how it happened. And the cast members thought about, they got together and they thought, what could we do to help this family? This family is going through something that's very traumatic. And so then one of the cast members asked the child, what's your favorite ride at Walt Disney World? What do you really love? And the child said, I love the rock and roll coaster. And so it's a roller coaster with like Aerosmith music. And so another cast member said, you know what? I'll be right back. They ran to their car. And so this is back in the 2010s. They got a CD that had the soundtrack of Walt Disney World, because people who work at Disney Store are pretty crazy about Disney. And so then they said they put the soundtrack on the player in the store so that it played throughout the whole store. And they told the kids and the parents to line up in a line. And when they pushed play, they ran the children and the parents in and out of all the fixtures in the store. And they told them to raise their hands, and they were screaming that they were going downhill. And they were trying to just for a moment, help the children believe that they went through something fun and unique and exciting on the rock and roll roller coaster in like New Jersey. So that was a wonderful story. And those are the stories that we started to get back, that cast members recognized, hey, here's a moment in this customer's life that we could make a difference in. And that's what we said, okay, how do we operationalize that? How do we then put into place a framework and guidelines, not rules, but guidelines to help people understand, number one, you have permission to do this. And number two, we expect you to do this. We want you to do this.
Can I just cut you here? Because while you were sharing the story, this is from a business perspective. I'm saying a message to the CEOs. Honestly, when they hear this story from you, there are some points that you have highlighted, which for any organization, they could reach and excel and hit their goals without any challenges. You have shared that one, humanity and they have thought as a human. And this is from a business perspective. You are immediately linking it to a wow factor. This is one. Secondly, you have shared that your people, which are in the store, that they face the family, that they are customer centric, and this is something not easy. It means that your employee are so loyal and so engaged to Disney, which you have highlighted again and said they are crazy about Disney. So this means employee experience. CEOs, this is number 2. 3, which is very crucial, they think about the people. They never think that, okay, you're going to buy and goodbye. No, they knew that this will be a memorable moment from a human factor. CEOs, if you could reach to one store with this journey and this moment without utilizing and, as they say, offending people that you're trying to sell, you will reach. I'm sorry, but this small story is really, as they say, a study alone. It's really a study alone, that this is why Disney is, until this year's, are number 1. Nobody can challenge them. Thank you. Thank you really to share that story.
No, and I will say it is we received like 200 stories, and they weren't all that good, but there were many of them that we recognized that there were people, like you said, with empathy and with humanity, and who were willing to not just listen, but act on what they heard and act on what they observed. And so we took the ideas that people were coming to celebrate for many, many reasons. And we took the idea of, okay, there's going to be some moments that people will give us these hints that there is something that is unique about this particular day. And then we said, this is how we want you to deliver an experience. Now, it's very difficult to kind of write a list of things. You do this first, a lot of it is innate. A lot of it is something that you as a human being have to be willing to say, I care about my customers. I care about my guests, and I really want them to have a memorable time. And that's not easy to find. And there is a difference between somebody, because like we had an example of a young man who used to do a imitation of Mickey Mouse. He could speak like, I could speak like Mickey Mouse. You know, he could speak like, but you don't do that to like a grandmother and a parent and a child. But that was his like trick. That was his shtick. And we were like, okay, that's good, but I need you to only use it when it's appropriate. You don't walk around all day, every day, because you're going to become annoying to people. And they're going to wonder what's wrong with you. So you have to really kind of understand you when you're engaging with somebody, you recognize that this person is where I could use that. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to create this universal kind of like language and phraseology. So as if you remember, when we made the store, we had something that was the princess section. We had something that was the cars section, the Toy Story section. So we had these little tiny like lands within the store, very small store, but these small lands. But when you approach somebody, so somebody's looking at a wall that has a lot of cars merchandise, you would come in and say, welcome to Radiator Springs. If there was a race between Mater and Lightning McQueen, who do you think would win? So you ask a question to try and engage them in a conversation. But we had these certain phrases that we didn't make up. We asked people to share them with us. How do you approach somebody that really works? You know, what is it? What is your opening line? So it's never, may I help you? It's never, can I help you find something? You know, it's never a yes or no question. It's always an open-ended question, but you always want to try and engage them and help them to feel like they are in something special. Now, you might get somebody to kind of roll their eyes. It's like, no, go away. Don't bother me. And it's like, fine. Okay, no problem. I'm right over here. You let me know if I can help you with anything. And then, by the way, these things are, this is going on or on sale or something. You know, you give them something to kind of entice them. but we wanted to try and bring in these rules. Another rule that we brought in was for the children. So we learned this from Disneyland. When you approach a child or speak to a child, you always get down to their level so that you are looking at them in the eye. You're not making them look up to you. You're actually at their same level. So if they were in a stroller, the cast member had to crouch down. When they were walking, holding the hand of their mom, they would crouch down and they would speak directly to the child, ask the child an engaging question, and really try and get the child to start have a conversation. So the other rule that we learned from Disneyland was there's a saying, and the saying is you take a child by the hand, you take a parent by the heart. So in the conversation with the child, if you said, I've got this one brand new princess item that's over here, would you like to see it? And the little girl says yes, you put your hand out. If the child takes the hand, you walk that child over to the princess section. The parent feels wonderful, the child feels wonderful. And so it's those small things that made a big difference. And those are just one or two just examples of how we wanted to try and really kind of bring the level of service up to a very, very high standard. And that was something that was very critical in how we were building the store.
So for sure, in the engagement, let's say here on the left, and the engagement that you have, or basically done, or and ensured that all of your staff, or most of them, really knew how to read body languages,
yes.
Reactions, because some of them, unfortunately, are poor in that area, which don't fit to that position. This is why, I always say to my colleagues or my customers who I sit with, I tell them, look, in the customer experience, customer service, customer care, and even in sales, when you have a person which is trying to engage, if they don't have the skill to read the person in front of him, he will lose or she will lose, for sure. So he or she loses, you lose. So for sure, it's very crucial to really choose the right person and to really be your ambassador in that area.
Yes. And there is a spectrum of like it's like that saying, like head, heart, or hands. People who kind of approach their work either from the heart perspective, the hands perspective, or the head perspective. If you had a whole team of only heart people, and a heart people very important, especially in this level of service that you're trying to deal with families and children and things. But if you have your whole team as heart people, you're going to have some problems. There's going to be people who are going to emotionally get into kind of arguments or not see eye to eye on things. And so we understood there has to be a balance. There has to be, a leader who understands, I know how to speak with folks who are like in the stockroom. These are the hands people, the people who are unboxing merchandise and taking boxes off trucks and putting things, on the backstage. We need folks who are going to do that. You could put them on stage, but you probably don't want them on stage because they are doing a certain task and a certain job. The leadership, the assistant managers, the ones who can make a wall beautiful, like make the standards like perfect. Again, they might not be a perfectly great like engager with guests, but they might have the eye and the ability and the strength in order to kind of make your store look as immaculate as it needs to look.
Like the creative people,
yes, very much. So it is definitely, you want to have a combination of strengths on the team in order to make sure you can deliver the experience that is there for the expectation. And so we talked about language, about really trying to have these different phrases that we used in when you kind of approach someone. We talked about the physical sort of way that you wanted to try and, look people in the eye, look children in the eye, and things of that nature. And then we talked about like giving the tools in order to help them with those experiences. So we had these stacks of certificates, and the people like certificates. And so it says, all it said was, you know, congratulations, and we could write in something. Or if it was their birthday, we had that celebration that we could do where the name comes on the screen with the characters and you could take a photograph. So it was very much, we wanted to give the tools in order to kind of deliver on those experiences. So I recognize that there's a chance to make something special happen, and then I have the tools to make that something special happen. And you have to print things, and you have to you know, you have to give people scripts, and you have to help people understand this is what the expectations are. But as long as you sort of get everybody on board and really kind of help them understand this is the new reality, and this is probably one of the most important things, is that we went out across the country, and we went from region to region to region to region to region. And we said, listen, we expect you to give unforgettable experiences to our guests. So we're going to try and give you an unforgettable experience. And so in every single place that we went, we had backstage tours at Walt Disney World, or we got a chance to go see where they light the fireworks, or we went to this one hotel that was haunted, that had ghosts supposedly, and we had this tour of this little ghost thing. And we went to when we went to different regions, we tried to find something that was unforgettable, to try and instill in them that this is possible. It is possible, and we want you to do it. And then we did a learning map exercise. And this is we worked with a different company called Root. And Root came in and they drew a metaphor, a big, like, if you could imagine a map the size of a table. And on that metaphor were different images of the vision that we wanted to take the company in the future. And there were card exercises, and there were dialogues, and there were quizzes, and there were ways in which the team members would gather around a table, point to different parts of the map, and then we would direct them and have these little exercises. And that was not us just saying, listen, this is what you're going to do, and this is why you're going to do it. It was them saying to us, I see the power of delivering this experience. I understand why you're asking me to do this. I will go back and teach my teams that we need to do this. And that was the transformative sort of moment when we really started to get into the hearts and minds of our team members, to really help them understand this is possible and this is why it's important.
Great.
Yeah.
So let's cut.
Yep.
So what do you think? I think so. This is for this session. Will be great. If you want us to take it to a next session, the same thing. We have talked now about engagement. We could talk later on about the culture and the entertainment. I think so. If you would see that's
I think the entertainment, a lot of entertainment is really about using the tools that we provided you. We had events, we had a lot of things that we did inside the stores. I think that there's pluses and minuses. We had some that were very popular and some that were not very popular. And so we spent a lot of money kind of getting to that understanding of, is it like once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, once a month, twice a month? And so we did these things where, you know, and it wasn't come to the mall and, you know, to increase the number of trips like to our store. That's what we were trying to do. And so it worked really well when we were releasing a new movie. But it didn't work as well. It peaked. When we were releasing a new movie, we got a lot of people in, and they did surveys, not at our stores, but at the movies, when they did test like showings of different, and sometimes it was 17 to 20% of the people said they heard about the movie, and the reason they wanted to see the movie was because of the experience at the Disney store, which was great, which was wonderful. So it's that synergy piece, like how does one division help another division succeed?
So what do you think? Our second session will be culture.
Culture and entertainment. I think culture and entertainment together.
Okay, so good. So that's great. Let's do it next week. I think so. The same thing, same timing. So I don't, we don't, as they say, bother you with a lot of engagements and all of that. The good news I have to tell you, I got not approached, as they say, a conversation with one of the entertainment companies here in Saudi. I shared your profile. I shared what we have done. They said this was exactly on Sunday. You know, we work on Sunday here in Saudi. So it was just a discussion on the phone. And I'm hoping that it transitions to something good.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. So I told them, and I gave them your profile, your LinkedIn even. It could be that one of them could enter to your LinkedIn. And I told them, look, I mean, this is a guy I really trust. I know him. These are an example for something that you could see. And they said, okay, we will get back to you. They are just, I think so. They are just now looking around and checking. So the good thing is that now people are asking.
Yes.
People started to ask.
That's great. That's wonderful news.
Yeah. So at least we're having a traction. So this is what I wanted to share. And
Thank you.
I hope for good news always to hear from you and you hear from me, inshallah.
That sounds wonderful. That sounds wonderful.
Great. And again, thank you very much for the time. Thank you for sharing great stories, honestly.